Hey guys, and welcome back to Kimmy Unfiltered. I'm your host, Kimmy Lately. I have a very exciting topic today, the topic that both of us can relate. We are all figuring it out, and somewhere between who we are and who we want to be is a story worth telling. And part of that story is encompassed with confidence, which is going to be what we are going to talk and dissect today. How to build an unshakable confidence. So let's do a little bit story time. Back in 2016, I had just submitted my dissertation for my master's. I had a lot of time in my hand. And around then, I remember watching Carly Chrisman, Lydia Millen. I also remember watching Shirley. Those were the OG YouTubers that I used to watch. And I really so badly wanted to join the YouTube space and whatnot. I started having that desire to do it since 2012, but I was so terrified. So I'm talking about 2016. This is 4 years later, just debating and feeling like, what should I do with this? Should I just start? How would I look? What will people say? I felt cringed. My inner monologue was going off the hook. So this kept going on for 4 years. And then I had a blog in the back end. So for me, a blog felt like a shield. I could say whatever I want and then post. I wasn't necessarily interacting with people. I just kept my words and kept it pushing. But I really wanted to get into the video space. Back to 2016, I graduated and I was like, you know what? Let me just start a YouTube channel and see where it goes. I had just watched Lydia Millen's morning routine and I was like, I'll share my side of things. It was so not me. It was cringe. I tried to talk like a white girl. The voiceover was just cringe. I'm looking back at it and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Kimmy, what were you on? After a long time trying to do back and forth to either should I post it or not, should I record or not? Are people going to judge me? Are people going to think I'm weird or crazy? Because YouTube was really not a thing to do back then in Tanzania. It was brand new. I did it. Hit publish and then the rest will take care of it. And that whole thing kind of brought me to this journey today, which I have grown tremendously. But it just started with that one thing. But that thing also was delayed for 4 years due to my lack of confidence. Everybody who's listening to this has a time in their life where they didn't feel confident enough, either because of lack of skills, the societal pressure. You just didn't believe yourself enough to chase your dream, do the career, start a business and all that thing. Believe me when I say building an unshakable confidence is something that every human being struggles with it at some point in life. Even the most confident people that you see, they had at some point in their life where they struggled with it. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what confidence is and what confidence is not, how to build an unshakable confidence. I'm going to share with you tools that actually has helped me along the line and things that I still use today because I don't feel the most confident every day. And lastly, we're going to go through how to carry ourselves with a confidence that does not crumble in the first sign of trouble. So think of this as a friendly coffee chat with a big sister, your internet bestie, and let's get into it. The first order of business is defining confidence. Does it mean being the loudest person in the room? Does it mean never failing? Does it mean always having your shit figured out? Well, not really. Confidence at its core is trusting your feelings, is trusting your values, and it's trusting that whatever life throws at you, you're going to be okay at the end of the day. Confidence does not mean boastful. Confidence is not loud. Confidence does not mean you belittle others. Confidence does not mean you're better than other people. That, my friend, is just being cocky. One of my favorite thing or something that will help you along the line is knowing confidence doesn't mean I hope they like me. Confidence means I'll walk into the room and I'll be okay even if they don't like me. I'll say it again. Confidence does not mean I hope they like me. Confidence means I will be okay when I walk into that room, that meeting, that opportunity. I'll be okay even if they don't end up liking me. Because you trust yourself, you trust your feelings, you trust your value, and you trust that at the end of the day, you are gonna be just fine. When you feel that way on the inside, the rest just starts projecting out. There's a misconception that we need to bust before we move on. Confidence and arrogance are two different things. Arrogance is what arrogant people term confidence, but it is braggy, it is loud, it's thinking you're better than thee, it is thinking you are the smartest, a person does not need to change, and the list goes on. All of those are key indicators of an arrogant person. Confidence is the opposite of that. Confidence comes from trusting yourself that you're gonna be okay at the end of the day. Whether they like you or not, you you are gonna be fine. In fact, the most confident people are humble, they're secure, they are not the loudest people in the room, and they're always willing to learn. I've said a lot that confidence comes from the inner self, but how do we actually nurture that? How do we go through life, whatever it is you're feeling on the inside, projected to the outward self, so that you go through life and people can actually see you and be like, oh, that's a very confident individual. Just like any other muscle, you have to nurture it to a point that it is projected outward. And how do you do that? First things first, you need to build a foundation. Everything good and worthwhile needs a strong foundation. Same as confidence. Our foundation is formed of two things: self-awareness and self-acceptance. When we talk about self-awareness, it is the fact that you have taken time to familiarize with who you are as an individual. You've gone through your strength, you've gone through your weakness, you've gone through your quirks, you've gone through areas of improvements, learning, growth, and the list goes on. When you have familiarized with everything there is to know, it is going to be so harder for somebody who you just met or you grew up with, sibling, relative, friend, to just come randomly and tell you something and you fall for it. But if you know for a fact that you're actually good at, let's say, mathematics, and then you meet somebody and somebody else calls you dumb, it really doesn't matter, because you know for a fact that you are, one, a good mathematician, two, you actually have a track record of you always doing very good when it comes to mathematics and equations and whatnot. I don't know why I went with mathematics. There's few examples for this, but you get the point. On the flip side of things, if you know you're a horrible singer, I'm calling myself out on this one, and you go out and sing in public, I'll never do that because I know my strength. Knowing for a fact that you're not a great singer and then people boo you, that will kill your confidence, because you also believe you're not a good singer. So when somebody else tells you, it's more or less cementing what you already know, and that breaks your confidence. But if you know you're a great singer and you go out and sing and people boo you, it will hurt in the moment, but it wouldn't really uproot your confidence like that, because you know for a fact you're a great singer. That's kind of where self-awareness is important. But if you pair that with self-acceptance, then you have the perfect recipe for building an unshakable confidence. When it comes to self-acceptance, knowing you're not perfect, but loving yourself regardlessly. And also finding a way to tuning down our internal monologue. I hope I'm not the only one who has that frisky voice that sometimes can really aid and abet in self-sabotage. If you're feeling unconfident, there's always that inner monologue that will actually tell you, actually, why would you think you're going to do this? You're going to suck. Have you seen 1, 2, 3? They are better than you because la 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 la. So if you go through the self-awareness and then self-acceptance, it's also easier for you to tune down that negative or nagging inner monologue that sometimes just holds you back. When you go through life, you're going to go through criticisms, you're going to have rough days, you're going to try new things and actually fail tremendously. And that's part of the journey. So you will sway from left to right. If you have a proper foundation, then you will not be uprooted easily. You go through life, you meet a person, they tell you you're worthless, you believe them, you're swayed. Somebody tells you you're ugly, you believe them because you do not have a stronger foundation on who you are as an individual. So you keep being swayed by what the external is telling you, rather than actually looking internally about who you are and what you feel and then going through life with it. I have a quick exercise. Yes, we're doing an exercise today. Yay. It's quite simple. If you are just in the journey of building an unshakable confidence, take a piece of paper. Write all the things that you know for a fact are good at. Do not be delusional. This is between you and yourself, so there's no point of lying. And what are you really terrible at? Compare that list, and then the things that you're terrible at, make a list. That will be your work in progress. Find a way to actually work towards perfecting this. If you do not know how to perfect them, look at the things that you're good at. How did you get good at doing that? You'll find out it's discipline, consistency, and doing the same thing over and over again. You just don't wake up one day and feel confident over something. You have to work. Sometimes it might even take you years to build that unshakable confidence. But again, it starts with the tiniest of steps. Now that we've already gone through the step of forming the foundation of an unshakable confidence, how do we overcome the self-doubt? Because yes, you will know your strength and your weakness, the things you're good at and the things you can be better at and yada yada. But then we still have one, fear. And then when fear settles in, self-doubt starts creeping in. Let's discuss how to overcome fear and self-doubt. It happens to the best of us. I'll give you an example. You've been trying to maybe switch your job and you've been trying to apply left, right, and center. Then it happens you get the interview interview. The moment you get that interview, there's always going to be that fear. What if I'm not good enough? There's always that little creepy fear or inner monologue that will come. That, my friend, is just being human. It is okay to feel fear. It is okay to have self-doubt. What is not okay is believing it. So the first thing you have to do is acknowledge the fear. I know, seems counterintuitive, but you have to acknowledge the fear. I'm afraid that if I jump for this opportunity, things might not go the way I had planned. Maybe you've been a career girl all your life, and then you want to jump into entrepreneurship. The fear with that is to be expected. The fear and the self-doubt are a product of your mind. Your mind is creating all these worst-case scenarios so that it can keep you in a comfort stage. If you try and live out of your comfort stage, your mind just does its thing. And that's life. What is not life is you accepting the inner monologue, the inner fear, or the outward fear. You need to acknowledge, however that works for you. Look yourself in the mirror and be like, at this particular moment, I am feeling nervous. I am scared. I don't feel qualified. It is okay. Name your fear, and something magical happens the moment you name your fear. Because even if you do not acknowledge your fear, it doesn't mean it will go away. This is not one of those things like ignoring and hoping it goes away. First of all, the more you ignore it, the more it actually just stays there and builds more rooted grounds. So name your fear, acknowledge that you feel fearful, and then move forward. After you have acknowledged your fear or self-doubt, the second step, you need to actually challenge it. And this is what I love to call the worst case scenario. Say you have a presentation, but you're really terrified because you're presenting maybe in front of a board of directors, and maybe it's your very first big presentation, which could actually mean life or death when it comes to your career. That is terrifying. I agree. So you name your fear, but then you challenge yourself. What's the worst that can happen? If I blunder the presentation in front of the board directors, worst case scenario, I'll look dumb and then I'll be a joke of the company. But that's not really the thing, because our mind's thing is always blow things out of proportion. In actual situation, it might be true. You might blow up the presentation. It might not go according to plan, but will they laugh you out of the room? Absolutely not. You may stumble in your words. Worst case scenario, they might not understand you. Best case scenario, they'll ask you questions and you'll get time to clarify it. So there you are. You have challenged your fear, and now it doesn't look as horrible as it was in the very beginning. If it's still harder for you to challenge your fear or your self-doubt, I'll let you in on a little secret. People have a lot going on in their lives to be really worrying and dissecting you to the T about whatever is going on in your life. You know how you stand in front of a mirror and you'll be like, oh, I hate the texture of my face. I hate that I have crooked teeth. I hate that my left jaw is a little bit bigger. Nobody goes through life dissecting you that way. We are our own biggest critics. Imagine the way you're dissecting yourself in front of a mirror. The person you're worried to, best believe is also dissecting themselves and their problems with a magnifying lens. So at surface level, things might look bigger than they need to be because that's how we feel. But people also have a lot going on in their personal life to be bothered with your life at an 100% level. Number 3 is taking small actions. Do one tiny thing that scares you every day. Example would be public speaking. What does public speaking look like at its core? What are the steps that make you a good public speaker? Number 1 will actually be speaking, right? So you can start the baby steps of trying to articulate your words. If it's a language barrier situation, maybe first learn the language and then learn to articulate yourself, and then maybe start talking to like a smaller crowd. Host a dinner and talk to your friends, and then maybe talk to your coworkers. Little by little, you find yourself and your crowd increasing as it goes. Why doing the small step is important? Mention our minds are meant to protect us. If you don't have a track record, it's going to be harder for your mind to trust you. And when it comes to confidence, just doesn't happen by saying 100 times in front of a mirror, like, I'm confident. It happens by doing things. So if you want to be a confident public speaker, you have to do a lot of public speaking. You have to speak more than you actually need to for a normal person, to a point that your mind has a track record of you being able to actually do the damn thing. Then your mind knows you're capable of handling yourself in a public speaking situation. The more you do it, the more the inner monologue and the inner critic in you will go quieter and quieter as it goes. It will move easily for I can't do it to I am actually doing it. But this journey from I can't do it to whoa, I'm actually doing it happens if you do consistently baby steps towards the damn thing. So step number 4 is practicing self-compassion. One thing we need to understand is we are our worst critics. So we need to treat ourselves as we would a friend. If If you're feeling scared, you might find yourself saying, I'm actually ugly, or I'm actually stupid, or I actually can't do this. But if a dear friend came to you and asked you, like, I feel ugly, what would you have told them? I'm not sure you'll actually cement the fact that you actually are ugly. You will hype them all the way. No, you're beautiful, you're strong, you've got this, go break a leg, yada yada. So the same energy you do towards a supportive friend is the same energy you need to tell yourself. So every time you find yourself telling something negative, change the mindset. I know I'm not good at this, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put the work to try to be better. That's different than saying, I actually suck. No, I'm actually really horrible at this. And somewhere along the lines, we have glorified or normalized saying shit like, I actually suck. That narrative needs to change. If you're trying to be a confident individual, you need to block out the noise inside your head. The feelings that you go through life aren't necessarily exactly what you feel. They can be a product of our environment. Sometimes you grow up in a very toxic family household where you are constantly told you're ugly or nobody's going to love you, you're fat. Things like that. And then you grow up believing. You go to school, a teacher starts telling you, you're always the last person. You won't actually amount to anything. And then you believe it. The first guy that ends up telling you, I love you, and then they end up being a jackass, but you're like, I was told nobody was going to love me, so I'm going to actually persevere whatever it is because he's the first guy that has actually loved me. But what we spoke about in the beginning is, I don't care if they don't love me. I'm going to be okay. So if you go through life with that mindset, it doesn't really matter. There's this 5-second rule. If you're feeling terrified or you want to try something out of your comfort level, the thing that you need to do is count to 5 and then do it. At the end of the day, you did the one scary thing and you can move on. We've gone back and forth to build the confidence foundation. The next thing, let's talk about the confidence trifectas. I'm talking about self-talk, mindset, and body language. Everything I've been saying is confidence is an inner feeling. But how do people end up seeing a person and say like, that's a confident individual? Body language. Exactly. How you carry yourself into the world says a lot about your confidence. This is actually the one place you can actually fake it until you make it. You can just walk into a room and your body language will speak volume. This goes hand in hand with how you dress up, how you show up, and how you walk. So are your clothes clean? Are they ironed? Do they fit you? Do you slouch your shoulders when you walk? Do you smile? Do you make eye contact? That kind of thing. It's like a confidence sandwich. Let's start with the outfit. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you carry yourself proper because you're feeling good. Like, you ain't gonna tell me shit. But if your outfit is off, you actually haven't taken a shower, probably you have body odor, there is no way you'll feel good. So take time, practice body hygiene, wear clothes that fit you, iron your clothes, and then carry yourself with that. So if you walk into a room, stand straight, shoulders back and relaxed. Do not like grind your teeth together. Make eye contact when you walk into a room. Don't look at your shoes. If somebody looks at you, just smile and keep it pushing. That's all you need to do. And I know it's harder because sometimes when you're not feeling your best, you just want the ground to open up and swallow you whole. But we have done the work and now it's time for us to show up into the world. Sometimes when you're feeling some kind of way, just stand in front of a mirror, smile, and you'll feel just a little bit better. Or do the Superwoman, Wonder Woman pose. You just start with your hands akimbo and then you make that power pose. It will help you a little bit to feel confident. I don't know what happens in the mind, but it just works. The second part about the confidence trifecta, I'm going to talk about growth mindset. Every confident person has a growth mindset. They don't go through life with the I am who I am and then that's it. I'm not willing to change. I ain't doing no internal work. The two individuals with different mindset can go through life experiencing life very differently. Failure is part of life. A person without a growth mindset can experience failure and be like, oh damn, I'm a loser. I guess that's it. But a person with a growth mindset can go through a failure and be like, oh, I failed. That means there's something for me to learn from this. What can I do differently so that the next time when I go through this experience, I come out better on the other side? People who go through life with a growth mindset will also have a positive outlook into life. Any trial or turbulence they go through, they will always feel excited to actually go through it because failure builds character, character builds confidence. And also having a growth mindset will also allow you to tackle and try new things along life. Anything new will not necessarily be terrifying to you. It will look like an opportunity to add a skill set under your belt. Last thing we're going to talk about in the confidence trifecta is self-talk. The inner monologue that we have to speak to ourselves with kindness and love. Try as much as you can to mute the inner monologue that's negative, downgrading, mean, criticizing, and try and fuel your mind with things that are positive. And I'm not saying you just have to go be a happy individual. You are allowed to actually get pissed. You are allowed to go through the motions, but do not dwell into the motions. You will fail, but all you need to do is tell yourself, yes, we failed, but we can do better. Yes, we failed, but there's room for us to grow on to the next one. And you also have to learn to be kinder to yourself. The best way to actually go through this is affirmations. I know it seems a little ooey, but when you try, it actually makes a huge difference. When you tell yourself every day, I am beautiful, I am strong, I'm capable of good things, your mind starts to believe it. In the very beginning, there's going to be like a riffy raff. You might not necessarily feel that, but the more you do it, you'll actually start believing it. You know what? I'm actually beautiful. You know what? I'm actually a great singer. I don't think I'll get there. Fake it till you make it kind of situations. So affirmations are actually really, really good. If you have never done it, start today. Maybe every morning tell yourself just something small. I'm going to be happy today. And then go about with your day. The next morning you wake up, I'm going to be happy and have a great day. And then go about your day. Do that for a week and just check your mood shift, especially if you have anger issues. This is just like a very simple psychology that you trick your mind into actually believing it. To sum up the confidence trifecta, you need to carry yourself with confidence, you need to cultivate a growth mindset, and you need to speak to yourself with kindness daily. The more you do it, the more your mind believes it, and with time, the negative speaking becomes positive, and it'll feel like a relationship between you and your best friend, but you'll be your own best friend. This then becomes a segue on how to handle setbacks and failures without losing your confidence. If you ever go through a setback or failure, the first thing you need to know is don't let that define who you are as a person. Maybe you had applied for a job and you missed it. Don't let that define your moment in time. Think of it as a redirection. If you're spiritual or you believe in God, then this will make so much sense to you. In so many cases, we go through life where we think we really wanted something. We actually go as far as thinking we deserve it, only for it never turning out as is. And then later down the line, you actually get something bigger and better. That's kind of how life goes. It might suck in the moment, and that's okay. Go through the moment, allow yourself to feel all the feels, but then don't pitch your fork and let that thing define you right there and then. Don't let failures stop you from trying out again. You can fail over 1,000 times before you find the one thing. And the moment you find the one thing, then that's gonna be your big thing. And the beauty is, setback can be the thing that builds and harnesses your confidence. Think of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter. I think she was denied by 12 publishers before she actually got a person who believed in them as much as they believed in themselves. And then we had the hit series of Harry Potter. But if they believed first to the 12th publishing house, we will never have had the Harry Potter series. A lot of people that we hold on pedestals right now, I'm talking about LeBron, I'm talking about the best athlete, I don't know, the people that you look up to, they have gone through so many failures that we may never know. Failure is never glorified. Failure is never published. We always just see people at their highest. Before they got to their highest, there have been a lot of trial and error in the back end, mostly a lot of errors that we do not know. You need to know this as you're trying to go through life. Never let your setback and failures define you. And then you have to use your setback and your failures as a pedestal into the next step. Use them as a chapter in your journey to success, a journey towards building your confidence or in whatever space you are at. All right, so we're on the last segment and we're going to talk about the actionable steps that you can take starting today to build yourself an unshakable confidence. Number one, start a wins journal. Every day that you go through life, whatever win you felt you had, write it down. This is going to be useful for your head to actually see all the wins that you are capable of doing. In a situation where you go through life and there's a failure or a setback, you can always go back into your wins journal and see like, I won here, I won here, I won here. So you might have like 100 wins. So when you compare that to that one single setback, it doesn't look as big as it feels. But if you have no track record of your wins or there's nothing you're tracking, that one single setback will look really big in comparison to the empty list of your wins. Number two is practicing daily positive affirmation. Going through life, you need to have at least 5 affirmations that you actually wholeheartedly believe and do them every day. Do this challenge for a week and see how that affects affects your mood and your day. And then if it's actually positive, which I know it's going to be positively impacting your life, make this part of your lifestyle. Say it and actually believe it. Say it so many times to a point that it's engraved in your mind and in your soul. Number 3, body language. We have spoken about this in details. It's something that you can actually change this day, like you're listening to this podcast and you can actually change it now. Your body language plays a huge impact on your journey building an unshakable confidence. Number 4 is doing one small thing that frightens you. Get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be like a big grand gesture like jumping out of a plane. Just do something small. If you're terrified of running, maybe it's something that you want to start small. You do not have to run 10K, 5K. You can even do 500 meters and then keep growing from that. Number 5 is curate an environment that fuels your confidence level. If you're surrounded by negative Nancy's, it's time for you to cut off. Something we need to know is we are a product of our environment. If you are surrounding yourself with toxic people, it's going to be harder for you to actually believe your positive affirmation or muting that negative self-sabotaging voice in your head. So be mindful of who you surround yourself with, because then we will end up absorbing their energies. It's time for you to curate an energy that actually fuels your confidence journey. We are all in this trying to build an unshakable confidence, and believe me when I tell you, I am rooting for you. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode is confidence isn't something you can just cultivate in one day, no matter who you are or where you are at. And it is okay if you're not brimming with confidence right now. Most people that you actually look up to don't always feel the most confident. The thing that set them apart is even when they're not feeling 100%, they don't sit and dwell. They keep pushing and building a track record for them to fall back into along the way. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had the most fun researching and curating this podcast episode. I hope you found this episode as useful. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend and to subscribe and rate this podcast. It kind of helps more people to find these conversations online. I'll see you guys next Thursday on another episode of Kimi Unfiltered, where we talk about how to build a consistency lifestyle. Stay growing, stay glowing, and stay unfiltered. Ooh, oh, I got that. That was like one take. Perfect. Ooh, that was so good. I feel good. Da 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 da. Ah, that was good.